Are your microgreens not turning out the way you expected? Maybe you're dealing with mold, weak growth, or maybe they just don't taste right. Don't worry, you're not alone. Today, I'm going to share with you some of the key concepts to remember when you're growing your microgreens. And I'll show you the secret to growing microgreens successfully, so you can start enjoying your homegrown produce with confidence. Stay tuned till the end of this video because it's something that most microgreen growers overlook, and it might just save your entire crop. Hi, I'm Connor Hebel, also known as the Phytonutrient King, and I'm the founder of Amelia Island Microgreen. We've been helping people grow healthy, nutrient-packed microgreens right from their home for over 4 years. My mission is to make sure you grow your microgreens successfully and enjoy the process while you're doing it. Because here's a little secret. Microgreens are really fun to grow. Microgreens should not be frustrating, and that's why I'm here to help you every step of the way. So for a little background, this video continues from my last one, Don't Grow Microgreens Until You Know the Secret, where I covered some of the toughest microgreens to grow. And don't worry, you don't need to go back and watch that video to understand this one. So first, we're gonna cover the top 3 things you need to do before you start growing your microgreens. Let's get to it. Now, I wanna dive into some of the things that you wanna know before you start growing microgreens. So let's start with the first one, and that is patience. There may be a couple times where you grow these microgreens and it doesn't turn out the way you want. That's completely okay. Sometimes you have to make a couple mistakes in order to learn how to grow the next batch. When Edison made the light bulb, he had 1,000 failed attempts before he got the lights that we have today. And aren't we glad that he did that? So when you feel like you're not doing it right or you're not doing the best, remember that it's okay to make mistakes. And in fact, that's the only way that we can grow. And in this case, quite literally. We're so confident in your success that we give you our direct phone number and help you every step of the way. So be sure to look on your box to see that phone number and email, or you can go to our website, Amelia Island Microgreens. Reach out to us if you have any challenges. We want to avoid having you stuck. So reach out anytime. As well, if you're having a fantastic time growing your microgreens, reach out to us and tell us how amazing it's been. We love to hear all the success stories. That's why I have continued to keep Amelia Island Microgreens alive today, is because I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can gain even better health and food security. I started this right in COVID when the produce was so wonky and so unsettling. I knew I needed to do something, and so I created a garden. Didn't work out. I realized how important microgreens were because it was so much easier. It saved me so much time and so much money. That's when I realized that I needed to share this with everyone. So are you one of those people who loves to give Google reviews? Well, then this is great. We love to get them. So type in Amelia Island Microgreens, find us on our Google, and give us a Google review. We love it and we really appreciate it. And on your next seed refill, let us know and we will give you an extra seed refill as our appreciation. Because for small businesses, a little Google review makes a big difference. So thank you. So now the second thing, you want to make sure that you have the right tool. If your microgreens need to be soaked, it is very important to soak them. If they need a blackout dome, then be sure to get them a blackout dome, unless you like the taste of grass. And this is especially important if you're experiencing mold. So use cinnamon or use food grade hydrogen peroxide or get better ventilation. Another thing that helps with mold is to lower the temperature in your house about 65 to 72 degrees. This helps reduce the risk of mold. You want to make sure that you grow your microgreens in the house with air conditioning. This will help reduce that humidity and have microgreens that are thriving. And one more really important step, you want to make sure that your microgreens are going to get enough light. Ambient light is typically good for microgreens. Just near a window should be really good for them. The one thing I have found that has been really tricky for some microgreen growers is that newer windows that block out the light tend to also block out what the microgreens need in light too. So if you're noticing that your microgreens just aren't growing right next to a window getting that nice light, then I would suggest just leaving them outside for 15 to 20 minutes supervised and then bringing them back in so that they get some light during the day. The reason why you won't want to leave them out there is because your microgreens can fry in the sun. And there is also a risk that humidity from outside will affect your microgreens and make them mold, especially if you live in a more humid climate. So now that you know the importance of the right mindset, getting the right tools, and meeting the right light requirements, let us know in the comments below if there's anything that you want us to cover more. Which of these has helped you the most in growing your microgreens? Now, do you remember that secret tip I promised at the beginning of this video? Well, it's coming up in just a moment. So if these tips have been helping you so far, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss our next videos. So now we've talked about the basics. Let's talk about some other key concepts that you'll want to know when you start growing your microgreens. One of the big things that is important to remember is your seed amount. If you are using a microgreen kit, this part you don't have to worry so much about. If you have gone online and gotten a seed calculator, make sure that your seeds are not super thin, because then you won't get that many microgreens and they'll kind of look leggy and just on their own, it's a little wonky looking. Or having so many seeds that your microgreens can't get enough oxygen and they start to mold because it gets so humid trapped in microgreens. So making sure that your seed calculator is spot on is going to be incredibly important. And one of the easiest ways to prevent this from happening is to get a microgreen kit where everything is measured out specifically. So all you need to do is open the box, put your seeds and soil down, and you're ready to start growing. There's no measuring out your seeds, getting the right soil, getting the right tray, figuring out all these little fine details. It's just instant, and it's so much more fun that way. Then the next thing, once you have your microgreen seeds measured out, the big thing that will help prevent mold is to spread your seeds out evenly along that tray. You don't want to have big clumps of seeds because this is where mold is more likely to grow. Also, the same thing, when you overmeasure your seeds, you're gonna have more mold. Check out the links below in the description and in the comments. You'll find our recommended free 10-part series that will take you from microgreen beginner to microgreen grower in just 10 days. Another thing that is really important is to pH balance your water. This is an optional step. However, I feel like it really helps when growing microgreens. And why you want to pH balance your water is because microgreens are best grown at about 6.5 to 7 on the pH scale. And this just helps make sure that your water is not too acidic or too alkaline for your microgreen. Just like we have a set pH in our bodies, microgreens have a set pH in them. Another really important step is to maintain cleanliness with your microgreens. So once you've grown them, harvested them, make sure that you pull up, there's the roots and the soil. That's called your root carpet. Just pull that up, compost it. Chickens absolutely love it. Or you can just go ahead and throw it away and then wash your tray out. You want to wash your tray out to keep it clean. Make sure there isn't any bacteria accumulating in your tray. And this is also a great place to mention that you do not want to reuse soil. The reason being that your soil will now have some bacteria and possibly even mold. And you want to keep this as sterile as possible. That way you don't have any risks of any pathogens or bacteria affecting you. And then lastly, another really great thing to do is while you're eating off of one tray of microgreens, to plant that next one so that you have a rotation going and you don't go 7 days without microgreens. So now that you've learned how to grow microgreens successfully and you've learned some of those key concepts on what you need to do to achieve the best, healthiest, and freshest microgreens, you might run into another issue: how to store your microgreens to keep them fresher for longer. Because I will tell you, you can leave your microgreens out and you'll have them for a couple days. Or there is a method to have them for another 7 to 14 days. In this next video, I will show you how to do that. If you've enjoyed learning about microgreens today and want to dive even deeper into the microgreen growing process, check out the links below in the description and in the comments. You'll find our recommended free 10-part series that will take you from microgreen beginner to microgreen grower in just 10 days. It makes all the difference, and I highly recommend going ahead and watching this next video.